date is November 12th, 2020. The time is 2:00 p.m. and the place is everywhere. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the October 8th, 2020 meeting. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Peter Bunder, seconded by Mike Gibson.
Sure.
All in favor of approval of the minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Minutes are approved. First item on the agenda is a resolution T 2020-09, a resolution to amend the fiscal year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP. And the first item is a city bus program for $25,946 in fiscal year 2019, section 5310 funds, and $482,988 in fiscal year 2020, section 5310 funds for buses, training, and route operations programs. $1,200, I guess, unless there's a decimal point out of place or a comma out of place. In section 5339 funds for refueling station upgrades. Sally, this is you.
We'll let Doug take care of this. Thank you.
Doug.
Good afternoon. This is a request by City Bus to amend our TIP. As mentioned, this is two special federal funds, section 5310 funds, which assist the transportation needs for elderly
This
adults
conference will now be recorded.
also people with disabilities. These federal funds were approved by NDOT for City Bus, and they will be used for 4 projects. The first project is replacing paratransit vehicles with 4 CNG vehicles. They are either at replacement right now or will be shortly. The second project is to continue the travel training program, which began in 2009. The third project is the continuation of the additional route service for 2A and 2B. Specifically, this adds additional 4 hours to the evening service for Monday through Friday. And the bus targets the North End Community Center. So those going to using this route can either go to or come from the community center. The fourth project is operating a new route, and they will be going to the county work release facility, and then the other direction heading to Wabash Avenue, now serving that neighborhood. The other federal funds that City Bus received are special 5339 funds, and this is also awarded through a nationwide competition process. And they are used for bus replacement or bus facility infrastructure improvements. City Bus received $1.2 million, and they will be using these federal funds to expand their CNG facility. The CNG facility was installed and began operation in 2015, and at that time they only had 5 buses or 5 vehicles that used CNG. Now they're up to 40, and that is actually over half of the bus fleet. With the additional buses and with probably future additional CNG buses, there is a need to expand the CNG station. So that's what they plan on doing with these special federal funds. The City Bus Board of Directors did vote and approve these projects to be amended into the TIP. And the Technical Transportation Committee reviewed this request at last month's meeting and recommended approval. And APC staff is recommending approval as well. Are there any questions?
Is this an actionable item, Doug?
Yes, a vote will be needed.
All right. Any questions for Doug? Hearing none. All in favor of resolution 2020-9, resolution to amend the fiscal year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program as prior discussed, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hey, John, I think
Yeah.
we got to do roll call votes since it's a virtual meeting to meet the state law.
Okay, I don't have a list of attendees.
I'm here. My link wouldn't work and I had to have Sally's staff send me the link again. I couldn't get it to work the first time.
All right, you got her, buddy.
Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis? Mayor Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown? Oh, it says Tracy has left. Was he on and he's no longer on? Okay.
Yeah, he was on, he was traveling, so.
Okay. All right. Jackson Bogan,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Mike Gibson,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you filling in there.
Got your back, buddy.
Sally, can you bring up the agenda? I don't have an agenda in front of me.
There you go. So the next item would be the next resolution, which is T 2020-10, and Doug will present for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Doug, go ahead.
This tip request came about on October 1st when the president of the town board notified Sally that the town board of Dayton no longer desires to participate in the Yost Drive project. So after consulting with NDOT, we need to make changes to the tip. If you remember, in FY fiscal year 2020, the town was awarded $351,200 in STBG and STBG PYB funds for preliminary engineering. And since it's now fiscal year 2021, unfortunately, we lost these funds. We cannot use those for a project that is either in construction right now or will be let for construction in the near future. In addition to that, fortunately, the project was allocated federal funds for right-of-way in 2024, and we can address those funds when we are developing the new tip, and we just began that process here now. So we did not lose those federal funds. But in essence, what we need to do is go through, remove the project from table 4, the funded local projects, update a few additional tables in the document, and then update the document to reflect what the town board has desired. The Technical Transportation Committee did review this request at last month's meeting and recommended approval, and likewise APC staff recommends approval of this. Are there any questions?
I'll just say one other thing about this. Back in July, in a long email answering questions of the president of the Dayton Town Council, here are some things that I learned. One is that Dayton has to pay back and has already been billed by NDOT for the amount of federal funds expended to date on the preliminary engineering. My assumption is that then NDOT has to pay that money back to the feds because it was not spent on a finished project. And in fact, we don't know yet, but Dayton could be held responsible for the entire $351,000 in federal PE funds because the Federal Highway Administration does not fund projects that don't get built. We don't know the answer to that question yet, but we know for sure that they have to pay back the amount of federal funds that were expended to date.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, please, Jackson, go ahead.
And this might be my ignorance. Why would they why would the town board, why would they withdraw from this? Or is that an line conversation?
Well, I don't know that it's offline. I think that the project was supported by prior town councils. There was an election a year ago. There was some significant change in the town council. The new town council decided they didn't want a road. It's not that they didn't want to, well, I don't think it was entirely that they didn't want to spend the money. I think they just plain don't want a road.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's the best and most complete answer I can give you at this point.
I guess ultimately, this is not common, is it, for something like this to take place?
It's highly unusual.
Okay, thank you.
Ellie, I have a question. Does this, going forward, as an MPO, does this kind of give us a black eye because we didn't use those obligated funds?
Well,
It probably
I've
doesn't look well. I mean,
I've
look
never
good.
faced this before, and I've never known an MPO that had to face this before. I think probably there is a bit of that. On the other hand, nobody really lost the money except for us, basically all of you, because it could have gone to your projects instead of this project. It would, in my mind, and I told Dayton this, it would give me pause if they wanted to do another federal aid project. I'd want to have some kind of better feeling that it was actually going to get completed if they ever ask for money again.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
thank you, Sally, for that explanation, and Doug, and that lines up kind of what Commissioner Murtaugh explained to me. Unfortunate circumstances, very unfortunate. So, but with that, we'll move forward. So, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second, Cindy.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis?
Aye.
Tracy's gone. Jackson Bogan?
Aye, and Tracy's back on there.
Tracy, you back on?
I am. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Peter Bunder?
Aye.
Cindy Murray?
Aye.
Mike Gibson?
Aye.
Jane Spears?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Okay, thank you.
AP, looks like we got the APC progress report.
Yes, and the first item is mine, and that's the fund swap for the North River Road at 500 North Safety Project. If you recall, as we were getting to the end of obligating our 2020 funds, we were doing some swaps with other MP, or we were doing at least a swap with another MPO for our safety money in 2020 so that we could have it back in 2021. So we traded last fiscal year $573,000 to Terre Haute so that they could pay it back in 2021 in time for this North River Road 500 safety project to let. That left us with still a balance of HSIP funds, which at the very end, I got Kathy Eden McCallop to agree to take from INDOT, and she will be paying us back again this fiscal year for that project, $169,011. So also for this project, we are using all of our 21 safety money, and we'd already in the tip allocated 93,000 and 625 of STBG towards this project. And then we were looking for a second swap to put in money that we could pay back to another MPO in 2022. That MPO, we have struck a verbal agreement with NERPC, which is Northwest Indiana, for sure, for the 727,183, which would bring our federal funds for this project to $2,279,086. However, that still leaves this project short 1.154 million just in federal funds. So what I am asking from you today is consensus, because we don't have, we need to do this before we have a new tip. So what I'm asking for is consensus that we allocate our fiscal year 24 HSIP money only, which is the safety money, in the amount of 727,183 to this project, because it's my belief that NERPC will be able to also give us this year that a second amount of money and take it back in 2024, which is the earliest we could pay it back, because we do have a project in Lafayette in 2023 to use that money. That would then bring the deficit of federal funds down to 427,000, which it looks like the county is probably going to have to pay for itself. But at least it would get them a little closer than 1.1 million federal funds shortage. So what I'm asking for today is consensus based on a recommendation from your county and city engineers that they were okay with this, to allocate our 2024 money in a swap with NERPC or any MPO for that matter, which we would pay back in 2024.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Sally? So Sally, this is not a resolution. This is just a vote on consensus to allow you to make that swap.
Correct. And then it would be formalized in the new tip. Well, I can amend the tip by administratively, because the project's already in the tip. We're just adding additional money to it. So I don't need you to do a resolution, but I didn't feel comfortable in the absence of a new tip, which won't be developed until after this project goes to letting, without some consensus from you for me to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. All right. I would entertain a motion for consensus to allow Sally, or to acknowledge Sally making this change with this money.
So moved. Second.
All right. Mr. Campbell made the motion. I see Mr. Campbell is on now. I didn't see him earlier. He made the motion. I believe Mike Gibson made the second. This time we'll conduct a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Jackson Bogan,
Aye.
Ron Campbell,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The motion carries. So thank you, Sally. Next item on the agenda is the Rec Thoroughfare Plan Letter of Support.
Yeah, so I'm going to be handling that. So this is something that has been a pretty major undertaking for us, trying to kind of do a pretty big new update to our thoroughfare plan. It's really more of a new plan, honestly, than an update. And so because we're doing a lot of new things that we haven't done before in our previous plan, and we're really changing around some of the things we're looking at, we wanted to kind of make sure that what we're doing is kind of in line with what the community wants and what's good for the community, and what's a good way to develop our road network when new projects do come in. So we've kind of approached that a few different ways. We have taken this to our Citizens Participation Committee. That was one forum where we got input on this. Additionally, we received a letter of support from the Wabash River Enhancement Corporation that highlights some of the things that we think are pretty important changes to the plan. So I'm showing it here on the screen now. I'm not going to necessarily go through this whole letter because it's a couple pages long. There are some fairly significant changes, but one of the biggest general changes that we're looking for is making the thoroughfare plan more multimodal friendly. So we want it to be a plan that encourages travel in many different ways. So not just through personal vehicles, but also through transit, through walking, through bicycling. It's pretty clear to us that that is something that the community strongly desires. And as such, we need to have appropriate standards for those types of facilities. So the letter talks a lot about that in more detail. And so we just wanted to kind of take this opportunity to thank everyone for putting that together. It's kind of nice to have something formalized, just to have it to look back at and use as we kind of go forward with wrapping up the final details that we're trying to get nailed down before we take this plan into the formal adoption process. Okay, so are there any questions about the letter or anything else related to the plan?
All right.
I'll take that as no. One other thing, just a little bit odd about this meeting specifically, is that after we sent out the agenda, we did receive an update to the 18-month letting list. So that was not included in the packet. So when we start talking about that on the agenda, I'm going to switch over to the updated version of that so that everyone can see it on their screen. There were some significant updates that we received from NDOT at the very end of last week.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. And if nobody has any questions about the letter of support, why don't you go ahead, Tim, and just go on into the 18-month letting list with the updated document.
Yeah, so I have it pulled up here. I think I'm still going to let Doug cover it, but I just
Okay.
was pulling it up so that everyone could see it was all.
All right. Doug, please proceed.
Sure, be more than glad to. The 18-month letting list, as you see here, popped up. The first 6 projects are on this actually past Tuesday letting. Project on State Road 25 to replace the superstructure of the Big Shawnee Creek. That project, looking at NDOT's website, shows 5 bids were submitted. Unfortunately, they were all over the engineer's estimate, so I guess it's a stay tuned and wait for what's going to happen with this project. The other remaining projects, 2 through 6, were all on one contract. Surprisingly, there were 8 bids submitted and the engineer's estimate, and there's multiple other projects in other counties that were on this contract as well. But the engineer's estimate was a little over $3 million. The low bid was $2.75 million. Projects 7 and 8 on the 18-month letting list, when we put this together and sent it out, these 2 projects were actually not shown, but thankfully the district sent us some additional information. And in that information, it showed that the 2 projects moved from a December 2020 letting to a February 2022 letting, so significantly moved out. Going down the list, there's a number of projects that are actually going to be let in December. So if you could scroll down a little, Tim. Mostly they are on I-65, US 231, US 52, and then State Road 38. A lot of bridge projects here. They are all still moving forward except for project number 19. And this is on State Road 28. This is on a December letting, but it actually has been moved to the January 13th, 2021 letting. We now have, looking forward, we still have a bunch of projects in the January letting, and we also have a bunch in the February letting. And then additional information starts popping up later on the list. You see here, project 32. This project is on State Road 38, a debris removal project. This was actually moved from a March to an April letting. The next project, project 33 on State Road 38. This project, the information, it still go for an April letting, but according to the information that was sent to us, it states that project is at high risk. Utility coordination for relocations and right-of-way acquisition is in process, and the project needs to be let with these expectations. So it's waiting to see what will happen here in the next 3 or 4 months. We also have 2 new projects. This was actually on the 18-month original list, 34 and 35. 2 various locations, one traffic signal modernization, and then bridge maintenance projects. And then pretty much the remainder of the list, projects 36 through the balance, are mostly all new projects, except for 2. We have first one, State Road 26, small structure replacement. This is west of US 231, US 52 bridge replacement project over Indian Creek, 52 bridge thin deck overlay over Wabash River, auxiliary lanes, acceleration and decelerations on US 52, which is south of Lafayette, bridge painting projects, and as the list goes, there's a considerable number of them. Of course, all of these are on either July of next year letting or thereafter. The Sagamore Parkway Trail, Project 44, that's still on a 11/17 of 2021 letting. And then, of course, at the very bottom, we have State Road 43, 2 new projects. These are going to be at the interchange on the entrance exit ramps. They are new projects as well, which are on a December 8th of 2021 letting. And then our bid letting results, we have a bunch of on 25, these were all in the Hoosier Heartland. And again, these are thin deck overlays to help preserve and protect and extend the life of the bridge deck. And they were all let for construction. The engineer's estimate was almost $1.3 million. Ram Construction was awarded the project for a little over $1 million, and the estimated completion date, August 28th of 2021. So we have a lot going on next year construction-wise and even in the following year. Any questions?
Any questions for Doug? All right, thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
All right, well, that looks like it brings us to the end of that part of the agenda. Is there anything under other business?
I don't have any.
Okay, anybody else have anything under other business? All right. At this time, do we have any citizen comments? And Sally, would you like us to wait for a minute or so to see if anything comes in?
Yes, please. And I've started the clock.
All right, thank you.
Okay, a minute has elapsed.
All right, hearing no public comment, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Those were kind of on top of each other. Could we do that again?
Go ahead, Mr.
Jack. Second.
Okay, Mayor Dennis made a motion, Mr. Campbell seconded for adjournment. We'll go through quick roll call vote. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Jackson Bogan,
Aye.
Ron Campbell,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Mike Gibson,
Aye.
Jane Spears.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank
Hi,
you.
guys.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
This conference is no longer being recorded.